continue to finals. So when they were turning on to the finals, then I gave the green light for these people to light up. As that aeroplane turned out onto the finals, 33 lives here, 33 there, landed. Believe you me, I must tell you the truth. The aeroplane switched off at the end of the runway, and they took a jeep and they came running to me, and they came and embraced, sir. आज तो आपने हमारी जान बचा दी, नहीं तो we would have to eject. Till the last minute we were not seeing the runway, and you had everything under control, and we were not aware of it that you can recover us. So these things one has to prepare. War is not off the cuff. You have to think in advance. And I had perfected this in Jamnagar. I used to do this, and I showed it to earlier on the SASO Western Air Command that I can light up this. And the chief also, Yogi Mehra, saw this, that within 50-55 seconds I could light up the runway and switch off.
What exactly are goosenecks?
Gooseneck is a teapot kind of a thing which is full of kerosene oil, and there is a wick in front. And so when you want to light it up, you can light it up. It lights up like this.
So now you can recount your that experience with that AD boy also, sir, that air defense chap, and then thereafter, sir, whatever you want to speak, sir. And इसके बाद साहब पे पूरा focus कर लेना तसल्ली से.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I have only been given 10 minutes to speak and speak extempore on my memories of the war which took place 34 years ago. Now, whatever I could recall, because everything appears to be so fresh in my mind, but always there are certain details which you in such a rush do omit, and my apologies. The AROP was very handy to us, because whenever those two pilots were leaving the scene, the AROP was staying behind to keep track of the tanks on the ground. And they were very helpful in telling the pilot, there is a tank, this way, that way, 2 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Though they were helping the pilots to quickly spot these tanks on the ground and deal with them. So I would give a great amount of thanks to those AROP pilots who also operated with me at the airfield and trained together for night flying and combat. They did a damn good job of their own and helped these operations and cut down the time in identifying, spotting and hitting. So those people are recommended for the gallantry awards which they got. I'm very glad that whatever I put up, it went through. The second point that I forgot to mention was that while reading these Pakistani books, when I look back and see what I perceived in writing that paper, how true and how well it has come out. I put down there that in a short duration war, counter-air assumes the lower priority. During this short war, weight of the air be thrown behind the army to capture as much territory as possible, so as to bargain from position of strength later. However, during this period, fleeting counter-air raids were carried out to keep the enemy guessing and tie down his air defense forces. During this period, interdiction behind the battlefield be resorted to isolate the battlefront from its rear, to deny it the supplies of all kinds from the rear. So when I read Pakistani books today, they say for 2 days they never got the food to eat. They got no ammunition, no nothing that would reach them. Also, when I talked about the counter-air, the 65 war, we followed a very stereotyped pattern: carry out strikes early morning, carry out strikes in the middle of the afternoon, and then carry out strikes at the last light. It was a set pattern, and enemy would be waiting for you. This time, since counter-air was given lower priority and we were supporting the army on the ground from day one, the enemy had withdrawn deep into their rear bases, hoping that we would come deep down there finding them. I knew that they would beef up their airfields with a lot of anti-aircraft guns and be waiting for us, and we didn't go. When we didn't go there, they mentioned in the thing that this time the Indian Air Force followed a different technique. Probably the Russians were advising them. No, it was not the Russian advice, it was the Indian-Russian who had mentioned this in this paper, that there is no need to go and carry out a counter-air on a highly defended airfield, because your gains might outstrip your losses. Or the losses might outstrip the gains, not the other way around. So you might lose more than what you gain on the ground. So I'm glad that the Air Force followed this pattern, and now they are saying that the Russians were advising them. I hope next time they make the correct judgment. As regards the ammunition is concerned, in the guns that were sent to me, I asked the subaltern who had come. He said, "Sir, I've not put the ammunition here, brought the ammunition here because I've been told not to expose the rounds because there will be audit objection." He's come to fight the war, and look, he's thinking of the audit objection. I said, to hell with audit objection. You load up your gun, get the round on the hoist, but don't put it in the breech block. So he was little amazed. Okay, what is this commander saying? So promptly he went home in the evening into the office, and he sent out a message or signal to his unit commander that this is what the station commander asked me to load up the guns. I got a message from my base commander or the AOC in Jodhpur. Why have you got the guns loaded? So I said, I haven't got the guns loaded. The guns, there's no bullet in the breech block, but it is on the hoist. If I want him to fire, I want him to fire in the next minute or the second that I tell him to fire. I don't want him to run to a shady place 3 kilometers away and bring the ammunition for me. So they shut up on that. The unnecessary questions are being asked when you are there in the battlefield. You have seen in your service experience things. There's no point doing things which are not right. It will only upset you at that. I was quite upset at that time that 300, 200 miles behind me they are sitting and they are asking why you ask the guns to be loaded. That's my area of responsibility. So I had to do things the way I wanted.
So it's been a privilege, sir, to speak to you, and I'm really grateful, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm glad.